This is Talk is Sheep, a podcast by the Wild Sheep Society of British Columbia. Come along as we take conversations that matter to you into the high alpine.
Mr. Hamilton, good day, sir.
It is, isn't it?
Yes. So, okay, here we are. We're mid-May, and we're going to talk about Women Hunt with Renée Thornton.
Such a neat lady to talk to. This is what, her third time on the show, and every time we always have such a blast.
It is, and hey, guys and gals, don't judge. It's the third time we've had this guest on, but you know what? Each time it's different. We talked about Renée, about the program. The first time she was on, we talked about a follow-up of the program with Rebecca Peters, who is the Wild Sheep Society BC's rep for Women Hunt for their Texas program, the New Hunter program in Texas. And then we had Renée back. Applications are on now for the New Hunter course for Women Hunt for 2022. They just opened 2 days ago, and they're going to run, I think Renée said, May 30th at midnight Montana time. So,
yeah.
Or 11:59, whatever the case may be. So any ladies out there that are interested in getting involved, go over to the Wild Sheep Foundation's website. We have show notes that include a link, and this is a phenomenal opportunity. 5 days down in Texas, I think it is, and it's the soup to nuts for hunting. You're going to go in there as inexperienced. You're going to come out, and you're going to feel confidence in the field. The Women Hunt program sets you up with a mentor. This is an evolutionary experience for any of the attendees. I've had the opportunity to speak to a number of them, and people just rave about this program.
Oh, yeah, it looked like a great time. And from everything I learned from reading and watching and chatting with people, it was a hell of an experience. And some of the people had never even picked up a firearm for the first time. So they went in knowing nothing and coming out and experienced, because some of these people got to pull the trigger on some animals. And that's a hell of an experience. And what we need is more people getting into the shooting sports and the hunting arena. And because, well, we're only as loud as our voice, right? And more people we have supporting us, the better it is for future generations and passing on a legacy. So yeah, it's a hell of an experience.
Phenomenal opportunity. Be sure to check that out and share with your friends, and maybe some of the gentlemen are listening, share with your significant other. Obviously, it's not necessarily designed for the experienced lady hunter. So if you're a guide, you're probably not going to get selected through their selection program. But if you're new or relatively new to hunting, be sure to check it out. And guys, again, if you've got a significant other that maybe has some interest in getting involved, there's no better opportunity than Women Hunt for somebody that might want to go and learn how to hunt.
It's also important to remember that the only cost to you is getting to and from Texas. Everything else is covered, right? Licenses, fees, accommodation, food, everything you're using, that's all covered. So the cost is minimal, and the experience is everything. So, yeah.
Such a fantastic opportunity. So Renée Thornton is she's the lead on this initiative. It's a Wild Sheep Foundation initiative. It's called Women Hunt. We actually are going to be graced with Renée's presence. She's coming up to British Columbia, to Langley on June 17th. So the Wild Sheep Society BC, we're hosting our Women Shaping Conservation event. And it's a great opportunity for the ladies. Renée's going to be there. She's going to do a talk about Women Hunt. She's going to share her Women Hunt video, her film. And then we have Dr. Helen Swansha there. And Dr. Helen Swansha was the provincial veterinarian for the Ministry of Forest, Lands, Natural Resource Operations, and Rural Development. Helen is retired from the government. She was the provincial veterinarian for Flynn Road. But she is a conservation powerhouse. And so she's going to be at the event, and there's a new Wild Sheep Society BC film called Transmission. It's a 53-minute film. We're doing a private exclusive screening there. So this is not available to the greater public. This is an opportunity to come out and get involved. It's a great evening for the ladies. So, of course, we're not restricting it to ladies. So if you want to bring your significant other and happens to be a gentleman, he's welcome to attend. But we kind of have the ladies in mind on this one. So, I think $75 registration fee but you get a couple glasses of wine. There's dinner. We have it's at Krauseberry Farms in Langley. They've got a bunch of pizza, homemade pizza that they make with their own crust. They've got their own recipe with that people go there specifically for it. And it's just going to be a great night of conservation with the ladies in mind. So get registered for that. Go over to the Wild Sheep Society BC website, click on the link, and you can pick up some tickets for the event. $75, it's cheap. You're going to get dinner, drinks, and a great night of conservation. We got a bunch of cool raffles with ladies in mind. So, it's not going to be a men's pack. No, it's going to be designed for the ladies. We got some really cool things that raffle items, some giveaways, door prizes. It's going to be a great night. So,
no, absolutely agree. So, what else we got going on? You guys had a meeting or something last night, didn't you?
Actually, it was Tuesday night. Sorry, I misspoke earlier, Steve. And so on a projects front, we just approved $80,000 in projects for this coming year. We had a number of, and it's kind of everything across the landscape. So we've got some disease work we're doing there. We've got some predator management stuff going on there. We've got some habitat work. We've got some First Nation collaboration work going on. So some cool projects. We'll have a press release out on that shortly, or social media post. And so $80,000 back on the ground. And again, that's our membership. That's you, our listeners that are supporting the Wild Sheep Society BC that are making this possible. And again, another phenomenal support of the ecosystem here in BC for wild sheep.
Oh, you want to talk about an organization that puts its money where its mouth is? We do it consistently. And I'm not just saying that because I'm a monarch. I'm saying that because, well, it's true, right? It's a whole other conversation now.
Absolutely. And on that projects front as well, we're hoping that in the next 3 weeks that there'll be some fire in the north. We've got our prescribed burns. I think speaking to Josh Hamilton, that's leading the burns in the north. We've got 4 polygons that are approved, and we're just waiting for the proper burn conditions. Of course, spring in the north, they just got a big snow recently, so that's kind of affecting snow levels. So we're hoping that we can pull it off. We've got till the end of May, I think it is, and to get the right conditions. And Josh is really hopeful, but literally he's been working on this for 5 years now, and we're finally coming to fruition. And again, no easy task. If we pull this off, it'll be amazing and just such great work for not only wild sheep, as you always like to remind us, Steve.
Mm-hmm.
Again, if you're not a sheep hunter, you can still join the society, because our burns help other species. Our, the things we support, the habitat work, it supports everything. It doesn't just support wild sheep.
Exactly. I think that's a perfect way to end it and roll into our episode.
Episode 74. We have Renée Thornton, the Women Hunt Initiative Chair, Wild Sheep Foundation. Enjoy.
Across Canada and throughout the world, if you come across a campfire in the woods, on a mountaintop, or next to a river, you'll find warm company and friendly people gathered around. Regardless of your lifestyle or place you call home, we invite you to learn more about what it means to be a hunter in the modern era. If you love the outdoors, care about where your food comes from, and are concerned for the future of wildlife and the environments that they need to survive, pull up a seat. We have a story to tell. Welcome to our campfire.
Good morning, Renée. Welcome back to the podcast.
Thank you so much, Kyle, Steve. It's awesome to be back.
Great to see your smiling face, and we're going to talk about Women Hunt. We got a whole bunch of cool new things to talk about this time. So we've had you on. Is this your third time on the show?
Yeah, it is.
My goodness, it's starting to get a bit of a habit here. But
I'm going to give Joe a run for his money as a repeat guest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like it. It seems like it's been a long time since we talked, but I know there's been a lot go on, and a lot of, I've had the fortune of seeing all the great work that Women Hunt's doing, I think more than most, being involved with the foundation. But I know there's tons of stuff that you guys are doing behind the scenes. So I guess maybe, Renée, let's start off with you. How are you doing? Just period. Let's not even talk Women Hunt. Let's talk Renée Thornton first.
Well, I'm doing just fine. Life is good here in Montana. Things are so awesome in this state, and lately. I had a chance last week to be up in Whitehorse in the Yukon, which while I lived in Canada for 49 years, I'd never made it up there. So I had the greatest time up there. It's beautiful country, and it was really actually really great to drive through to Skagway for the day and just see the beautiful ranges in that part of the world. And man, did they have snowpack this year! Holy smokes!
I believe we left and did it snow when you were there? Because I talked to Joe literally right after we left and they had 6 inches of snow or something that
No
morning.
kidding. No, not while I was there. Yeah.
That was a lot. There was a pile of snow. I think it was right after, I think it must have been a day or two after we left. And yeah, there was a ton of snow.
I don't feel for you guys dealing with snow. I had snow on my birthday here in mid-April. We had about 5 inches, but it was gone within 2 days. But yeah, I don't feel bad. So.
And how's everything else? Everything's good. Everything. What's going on in the wild sheep world? Where you been? What's up and what's on your agenda up next?
Yeah, a lot of stuff going on. It's been a busy first 4.5 months of the year for us for sure. Lots of the chapters and affiliates. I've been able to get back to having in-person banquets and events, so been attending a lot of those, and we have a few of those coming up too. And as a matter of fact, I've got some fun things coming up. I'm going to be, after talking to you guys today, next week, I've been invited to speak at the Chapter and Affiliate Summit to give an update on the program to all of the reps of the chapters and affiliates. Texas Bighorn Society is having their banquet event in June, and I'm going to be speaking at their banquet Friday night, which I'm really looking forward to. That affiliate has really been a big supporter of Women Hunt, just as WSSBC has been. And then finally, I will be really happy to be back in Canada a little later in June in Langley to attend the Wild Sheep Society of BC's Women Shaping Conservation event with Dr. Helen Schwansea, Rebecca Peters, and yourselves.
Yeah, awesome. We're really stoked about that event. So let's talk for 3 seconds about that, and then we'll get on things. So you're going to show your Women Hunt film, is that correct, at the event?
Yeah, we sure are. We're going to show the film from the 2021 New Hunter course.
Awesome. That's great. So yeah, it'll be a great opportunity for you to talk about the program. Unfortunately, I guess by then the recruitment process for this year's event will have been closed. So, but it's certainly a great opportunity for you to premiere what you guys are doing and talk about the great work that Women Hunt is doing.
Yeah, thank you so much. I'm so happy to have been invited. I'm excited to be there.
Awesome. Very cool. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about Women Hunt. So I think we talked to you and Rebecca post the event. What's new for 2022? Is it exactly the same format? And I actually have I seen Renée Thornton had sent out a bunch of stuff around Women Hunt that the application process is now open, which is really exciting. Is it the same format in previous years that you're looking for chapter and affiliates to support a local hunter, female hunter to come and participate? Is that the same format as well, Renée?
Yeah, it sure is. And, I guess I'll say that our last year was our first year out hosting the New Hunter course. And like any new program, there were some growing pains and some good lessons that we learned. And so, but absolutely, it is the same format with some improvements, I would suggest, from what we learned. But yes, we're asking for our chapters and affiliates to help promote the event, attract applicants to the opportunity to apply to be selected. And similarly to last year, depending on who we select and from what part of the countries, whether it's in Canada or the US, we're going to do our best to match that selected woman with their closest chapter or affiliate, where we are hoping that will give that woman some built-in support, whether there's an opportunity for mentorship or camaraderie, volunteering, that sort of thing. And we are, asking the chapters and affiliates who we approach to help support the selected candidates to, again, kindly consider a nominal financial bump to help offset the course costs.
That's fantastic, Renée. And of course, we supported Rebecca Peters on this last one last year. So, how important is this mentorship piece? I'm just curious on, I know personally through our dealings with it, Rebecca does have a great mentor and has had some support. And she wasn't exactly a brand new hunter. She had a little bit of season behind her, which we all know from previous podcasts with you that wasn't the criteria. It's not like you could never have been in the field before. But how important is that mentorship piece? And has that been a lot of work for you and your committee in trying to mentor these new female hunters, these new women hunters?
Yeah, and that was, I think, I'm going to suggest that that's been our biggest piece of learning, and we're going to approach it slightly differently this time around. So, at the end of the day, I still firmly believe that every individual is responsible for their own journey, right? So as much as we, and when I say we, I mean the Women Hunt program, the Women Hunt Committee, in partnership with the chapters and affiliates, endeavor to try to find a mentor for these new women that come out. Still, that accountability rests with them to make sure that their journey is a success as well. And so this year, we're just going to do a bit of a better job of that conversation, not just with the chapters and affiliates and the mentor, but also with the participants about needing to be proactive and getting their journey going. At the end of the day, everybody's a volunteer. Everybody is, the participants are benefiting from a free opportunity. And so the little bumps that we've experienced in the mentorship part of this program, we're really keen to smooth them out, because mentorship is so important to ensuring a person's success in the field, or even just preparing to get in the field. And so we really want to improve this portion of the course and make that more seamless for everybody who's touching it.
Very cool. So, we talk about the changes over last year to this year, and of course, the application process is now open. What sort of evolution have you seen, like in the program itself? So you talk about the mentorship piece, of course. Is there any other changes you guys have had to make? Anything you've tweaked, or anything you feel like you could do a little bit better on, or things that you've gotten rid of throughout the program?
Yeah, great question. And it kind of ranges from technical to more human-based stuff. So on the technical side, the process this year is going to be so much better for the applicants and the selection committee. Last year, we were paper-based. It was a PDF format. There was a lot of scanning, saving, emailing, Dropbox sharing. That kind of stuff was really cumbersome, and cumbersome for the applicants too. So this year, we have an entirely web-based application form. It's really slick. And like you mentioned, the application did go live on May 10th. It closes on May 30th. Applicants can get on and just seamlessly apply on this webpage. And then it will be in the background, the software packages that the developers put up together for us. They'll do all the scoring and aggregate scoring at addition for us, like really simplifies it before we actually, as a committee, sit down and review results. So that's an improvement, a major improvement. And then beyond that, though, another thing that we, if I could just pause for a second and just remind everybody who's perhaps heard this before and new listeners that there's 3 streams to the New Hunter course. There is attending the actual course and all the learning you get there. Then there's being matched up with your chapter and affiliate and getting some mentorship and other benefits. And then there's giving back. And so right now, that's where we're at. And it has been really tremendous to see the impact that these women are now having in their communities, and which is precisely what we wanted, because they really are receiving an incredible opportunity with a really big price tag attached to it that costs them nothing other than they need to get to San Antonio, Texas, and that's it. And so we really do, when the committee, we really do consider this the equivalent of a grant. And in return for their experience, participants are expected to give back. And so I would like to talk to you guys a little bit about what that's looking and feeling like that right now with our class of 2021. But to your question, Kyle, we are also taking what we learned in the last class, and we're giving back is concerned. We're finding different ways that we're going to help prepare the participants to frame their thinking around what they think they might want to do. More concretely, we're going to start those conversations early before the course starts, not to make decisions, but we want them to go through the course, but have this in their minds about the the expectation that they give back as they go through the course, so that when they come out on the other side and they're diving into the November hunting season and getting their mentorship ramped up, that they're also thinking, what am I going to do after Christmas, to give back?
Yeah, let's dig into that a little bit, Renee.
Yeah.
So how's it looking for the 2021 participants with the success and the reach that they've got since then? Have you got any updates on that?
I sure do. And I'll focus on a couple of them and what they're doing, but they are all in the process of doing great things in their provinces and states. But like some highlights would be, we have a participant out of New Mexico, a woman named B. Segura, and she's a single mother, and her primary motivation for wanting to source her own protein by hunting was to address some health issues she has related to food allergies. She's like super motivated and passionate, and she's building a really large following of single mothers, women just in general interested in sourcing organic food and beyond. And so she's really getting a lot of traction down in New Mexico, just because she is just really putting herself out there and speaking her, in her own voice, her own truth, and it's just driving people to her. So she's speaking at local events. She's starting to host small scale events for women who want to learn how to hunt, or who want to meet other like-minded women so they can ask questions and voice concerns and talk things through. So she's really, really doing a great job at building community and touching so many more women's lives who have this question in their mind about hunting and wildlife conservation. And she's really active in wildlife conservation projects. She even drives out to Texas to help out with Texas Bighorn Society on their stuff. So that's a little example of some of the stuff Bee's doing. And I think it's like super fascinating that whenever I touch in with her to get an update on what she's talking about, I always hear something new from her about some life she's touched and somebody that she's bringing along. And even just to hear her own journey in as she started to hunt, because she was an actual brand new hunter last year, had never hunted before. So she's gone on multiple hunts since and had some success. And she has learned that even with some of her challenges with food allergies, that sometimes the wild game meat can give her a reaction. So she's taking the initiative to learn more about the habitat the animal she's hunting is living in and what they might be eating, and would there be an impact to her health by eating that animal. So it's really a fascinating conversation with her. We have another woman out of Nevada. Her name is April Mendelbos, and she's a formal educator. She's a school teacher. And a couple of years ago, she started using Dr. Ryan Brock's STEM curriculum, the youth education program in a box, I think is how it's kind of colloquially referred to. And she started teaching those concepts about wild sheep and conservation and the importance of natural places to her classroom 2 years ago. And then because she had a little bit of a touch-in with WSF that way, she learned about the opportunity with the course, applied, and was selected. And so now she's also with her classroom incorporating those concepts about, her decision to learn to hunt, why, her experiences with the New Hunter course and her experiences since. And she's also taking that STEM curriculum that Dr. Brock developed, and she's also incorporating those concepts that we taught her at the course around the North American model of wildlife conservation, and helping her students to learn the role that hunting plays in that. So, she is really touching, a large number of lives, but young lives. So, the youth, our youth audience, which, is really, I think we'd all agree, so important to the future. And she's also a person who's active in conservation project work in the state of Nevada. And then, I know we briefly touched already about Rebecca a couple of times, but Rebecca's a great example too of somebody who's really making great impacts back home in her province of BC. And, she had a vision, and she has for a while, about creating a group to attract more women who are interested in wildlife conservation, the outdoors, and hunting, And, what she shared with me is that she really wants to work to heighten awareness in BC's lower mainland of wild sheep conservation challenges and opportunities, increasing the understanding of the role hunting plays in wildlife conservation in the North American model. And as you guys are well aware, she started the Women Shaping Conservation Group and kicking off with this great event on June 17th. And she is, as you know as well, such an active volunteer with WSSBC, as well as the Women Hunt program. So, these are like 3 examples of like some of the exceptional work that these women are doing. And I just love the fact that, we have a course that, we've chosen 12 women to attend, and we'll choose 12 more again this year. And but what's really remarkable to me is just that it's not just impacting 12 lives. It is impacting right now in real time infinitesimally more lives than that, and not just women, although largely women. These ladies are touching children's lives, their spouses, their friends, their families. So the reach of this course is really proving to be exceptional.
Yeah, well said. I know Rebecca is so motivated. I've had the opportunity to work with her through her work, and this experience of going to Texas and being part of the Women Hunt initiative literally has changed her life. And so it's been a cool evolution to sort of watching it from the side and being a little bit involved. Of course, I talked to you a lot about what you're doing, Renee, but to see the product that's been created through Rebecca and her enthusiasm for conservation and hunting and trying to get others involved too. So it's really inspiring, and it's been a lot of fun. So I have to say, I have to commend you on the work you've done, because it's really, really certainly impacted Rebecca, and hence, people around her that are involved with conservation as well. So.
Yeah, I really appreciate that, and it's just a ton of fun. Like our committee has a lot of fun doing this work, but it is really rewarding to see how positively it's changed these women's lives, and it's something that we are particularly proud of. And we're so grateful to organizations like WSSBC and others that are 100% behind it and are so supportive of it.
Excellent. So, okay, so somebody that hasn't been part of Women Hunt before, we're of course going to share your, the foundation and Women Hunt's information around the application process. We will get this out before the end of May, and make sure that we use this as sort of a promotional tool as well. But for somebody that doesn't know anything about Women Hunt, can you give them your 2-minute elevator speech on how they apply, what they need to do, what they're going to get if they're successful? What does it look like?
Right. So the New Hunter course is essentially designed to take a person who has never even touched a firearm and take you through world-class shooting and hunting instructions. So basically, you're taught safe handling of firearms, precision shooting. You have an opportunity to hunt a white-tailed doe. You learn game identification, shot placement, hunting techniques, field trailing. We have field to fork instruction, so you're taught how to field dress the animal, care and butcher your own game, and prepare it under the expert instruction of a master chef. And then finally, we place considerable emphasis during the course on hunting ethics, etiquette, and a comprehensive introduction and discussion of the North American model of wildlife conservation. So this opportunity is for anybody who is thinking about learning to hunt, who has perhaps tried hunting a couple of times, or maybe gone out on a hunt as an observer, and is ready to take the step to either learn how to hunt, improve their previous experience, or take their game from observation to active hunter.
Fantastic. And I can vouch from the feedback I've received. I've talked to a number of the new women hunters that went through the program. There was 2 or 3 I met down at Sheep Show, and it's just an opportunity of a lifetime. I think I've heard that word used over and over and over and over, and I think it's just been so impactful. So congratulations to you and the Foundation of Women Hunt for such a successful program, Renee.
Thank you so much.
So is this? Do you have new plans for this? Like, is this an ongoing New Hunter course, or is it going to evolve? You talked about this first year. You're doing it again, so clearly you've seen the success in year 1. What does the future hold, or is that do we wait to hear from you on that?
No, I'm happy to share some plans with you all. So, the Women Hunt program has a larger overarching objective of helping women on their journeys into the fields and the mountains. So, that can be many different things and take place in many different ways. And the New Hunter course is just one aspect of the Women Hunt program. So some of the other things that the committee is working on, and I'm happy to share that we had a meeting recently where we made the decision to grow the committee by 2 members. So I'm going to be vetting a couple of people for these new positions, because we've got a lot of other exciting work coming up in the next year and beyond that we need a few more hands on deck to handle. So some of the things we've talked about that I'm happy to share is, while we do have an allocated budget from the Wild Sheep Foundation under mission programs, we are intent on being self-funded. So we have a couple of committee members that are really skilled fundraisers with a lot of experience behind them, and they're going to kick up our fundraising game to self-fund the Women Hunt program. That's just a little bit of information about how we make things work. But we have another working group that's going to be talking about program development, because we strive to develop programs that are relevant to the Women Hunt program, but are also complementary to the Wild Sheep Foundation's mission of putting and keeping sheep on the mountains. So in addition to doing programming or opportunities or courses or resources for women, we also want to start looking at providing opportunities for younger women. That is from some feedback we've received from our membership and others. We have been approached by Wounded Warriors Outdoors about partnering with them to do a specific event for female veterans or female wounded veterans. We're really excited about exploring that. And of course, conservation activities. So the program development working group is really going to get things going after we finish the assessment for this year's New Hunter course on getting some other things going within the program. And then, we're going to work really hard to start developing our content on our social channels, including our YouTube channel, which we already have some great videos on, but we really want to start to expand and grow our YouTube content and our other social content. We are going to do actively this year, get down and develop our website to deliver what our members told us they wanted at the 2020 town hall that we hosted, which is a comprehensive kind of one-stop place where it's sort of a hub and spoke that points them to all the great resources that are out there in people's backyards to help them get on their journey. So website development, and then beyond that, we're concentrating right now on the New Hunter course for 2022, and then everything that comes along with that. So that's what we've got on the burner right now.
So just a tiny little bit, eh? That's
just a tiny bit.
My goodness. And of course, you're getting paid big dollars to do this, right?
Oh yeah, loads. Yeah. What about
and that's
I think
that's the phenomenal thing, right?
Yeah. I get paid and feeling really good about impacting lives. It's really rewarding.
Well, and talk about mentorship, right? Like, when we think of mentorship, we think, take a new hunter and get them out in the field and get them. You're mentoring hundreds of people. It's phenomenal, Renée. And again, just to be clear with our listeners, that Renée is a volunteer. There's no. This is not a day job. It is a day job, but it's that the recompense in terms of monetary is not very good. So it's phenomenal, the amount of work that's gone into this and by you and your team. And I know it's not just you, and I know you're always the first to recognize your supporters and volunteers and committee members they're all there giving day in and day out. So phenomenal.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Thank you, Kyle.
Okay, so now I'm a new female hunter. I want to learn what's involved. How do I get involved? Where do I go? And what are my increased chances of success if I want to have a successful application? Let's give these lady hunters or prospective lady hunters some tips and techniques that can increase their chances of being successful.
Sure. Great question. So the application, as I mentioned, is web-based, and it is available on the Wild Sheep Foundation's website, wildsheepfoundation.org. /Women Hunt, or you can just go to the Wild Sheep Foundation's homepage and head to programs and find Women Hunt and get in that way. And either way, when you get there, there's a description of the Women Hunt program's mission, and then some information about the new Hunter course with a very clear apply now button that a prospective applicant would click, and then it would take them to the online application. And your question about how could somebody be more successful is a really interesting one. As someone who assessed the applications last year, I have a point of view. But one thing that the committee did following the course is early this year, we approached the 12 women that were selected last year. And we asked them to help us by giving us some feedback on the application process. And the majority of them gave us feedback, which we really appreciated. It allowed us to tighten up the application somewhat, improve wording, that kind of thing. But one of the things that I kept hearing from them is that they just answered the questions by speaking from the heart. And that was a universal thing that I've heard from these 12 women who were successful, is they just read the questions, reflected, considered. Some of them talked about really looking inside deeply into their motivations for wanting to do it as it related to the questions. But almost all of them said that they spoke from the heart and that the questions were easy for them in their minds, easy for them to answer because they just spoke truthfully about what they were feeling and thinking. So I guess from the applicant perspective, that might be a tip. And certainly from the committee's perspective, we just want to see applicants, and we did last year in spades, and it was tough to get to 12. I mean, there were many, many good applications, and but we were so thrilled last year, and I don't think it will be any different this year. To just read such tremendous applications and contributions. Women are really thoughtful, can be very, very thoughtful in how they answer something. And I don't know, I guess my best advice is take the time to read the questions thoughtfully. Be present when you're reading that question and really think it through.
That's excellent, Renee. So we'll definitely include the link in the show notes so that any interested applicants can get there easily. So fantastic for sharing that. So let's talk a little bit about timelines. So applications close in just over 2.5 weeks, and then what timelines for knowing when do they go to Texas? What does it look like?
You bet. So applications close 11:59 p.m. Mountain Daylight Time on May 30th. And then the committee will have the month of June to assess the applications. We are anticipating to have quite an onslaught of applications this year. We had a great number last year, 49, but we've had a lot of exposure through our social and the films and all the rest of it. So we think we're going to get exponentially more applications. So we need a little bit more time this year. So we're taking the month of June to do that. And we're going to announce the selected participants on June 30th. And then the course this year is mid-October. So the selected participants would be expected to arrive in San Antonio, Texas on October 13th. That's a Thursday, in time to attend a group dinner that night. And then everybody gets on to the bus on Friday morning, October 14th, and we head out to the ranch, which is about 3 hours away. The course starts that afternoon. It runs for 4.5 days and concludes with graduation night on Tuesday, October 18th. And then Wednesday morning, the 19th, we all get back on the bus and head back to the airport for everybody to head home.
Right on. That's very exciting. And then, of course, the mentorship piece continues. So there's the local mentorship from their local organization plus their mentor or mentee, and then or mentor. And then afterwards, I think a number of the ladies came and volunteered at Sheep Week this past year as well. Is that correct?
Yeah, this week this past year, the 2022 Sheep Week, Renée Thornton, the CEO of Wild Sheep Foundation, had invited any of them who were available to come volunteer to come out, and 8 of them were able to come. And those women took time off their jobs, time away from their families, and just gave back, which was tremendous. And they were forewarned, and they sure experienced it in real time, that volunteers at Sheep Week get worked hard, and they worked their tails off. And they participated in a seminar we had on the last day of the show on the Saturday. They had a chance to have a little bit of fun in there. They were able to go to the ladies' lunch and the Less Than One Club reception, even though at the Less Than One Club and the ladies' lunch, many of them were still volunteering to work, selling raffle tickets and other things like that. So, but yeah, it was great. So you're right. I don't know exactly, Kyle, what we might have in store for the 2023 show as far as volunteer requirements or women hunt related activities that we'll be doing at the show. That's something we'll work on a little later this year. But I have no doubt that we're going to have a presence there again in perpetuity, probably. And so we'll need some volunteers.
Fantastic. Well, just some feedback from my end of things. So with the Base Camp Studios at Sheep Week, you did that women hunt presentation, and my wife Melanie, who is not a hunter, she obviously is passionate about conservation, but doesn't hunt and doesn't really aspire to either. Just not particularly interested in it, but understands it, supports it. And she went to that and she said that was phenomenal. She, before she thought Women Hunt was probably a good program, but kind of ambivalent, not being particularly interested in it. After that, you converted her for life. She's like, that program is amazing. And anytime we talk about you or Women Hunt, she just goes off and raves about it. She said, the people in that room were so phenomenal. Your leadership, what you guys are doing, and just she absolutely loves Women Hunt. So, if you want any feedback from the Stelter household, make sure you do something like that again in the future, because and it speaks to the non-hunter too, right? That's the cool thing, is that's what I loved about it. Of course, somebody interested that's a woman that wants to hunt, that's makes sense. But for somebody that doesn't even hunt and to be so supportive, it really changed Melanie's perspective on things. Very cool.
That is awesome. I'm really happy to hear that, and I'm particularly thrilled to hear that there was such a positive impact for Melanie as a non-hunter. I mean, that's great, because we all know that it transcends what some people think hunting is, right? And so I'm really thrilled to hear that. That's great feedback. Thank you.
Awesome. Okay, so let's segue off a little bit. We could talk for days about Women Hunt, but let's segue a little bit. Let's talk a little bit about your journey. So Renée, and it kind of relates to Women Hunt. Let's talk Renée and hunting. And, you've had this experience. You've talked about mentorship. You've talked about how, and anyone that's interested can listen to, I guess the first podcast is the best one to sort of get your perspective on why Women Hunt came about, some of the challenges you faced. But let's talk about your journey now. You started out as this, eager adult onset hunter that wants to get involved and had all these barriers and challenges, and you overcame them. But now here we are years down the road and you're mentoring all these individuals. Let's talk a little bit about your journey and where you're at now and your perspective and how you've, what this means to you.
Okay, yeah, and yeah, thanks, Kyle. That first podcast we did back in July last year was, you're right, would be, if anybody was that interested in hearing the nitty gritty, a good place to start. But my journey has been extraordinary, and I just love how much I learn every single day. And although I am now 6 years into my journey, I'm still such a newbie, I think, and what I've been learning is just, so, it just ranges from everything to, what my original concepts and ideas around hunting were, and my motivations, and even in that first year, I think was probably my largest learning curve. Makes sense. But just kind of getting past some of my own preconceived notions. Even though I wanted to learn how to hunt and I understood its function, I still had built-in kind of barriers or prejudices or misunderstandings about that. And it's just been such a journey for me to learn so much about the North American model and concepts about wildlife management, what our wildlife biologists and professionals do to help inform the appropriate use of hunting and in conservation, etc. I could just go on forever, but my journey has been incredible, and I love the fact that I'm still newer, so I still love getting out there and hunting. I love the journey of researching the hunt I'm going to go on, the behavior of the animal I'm going to pursue, the habitat, the terrain that I'll be hunting in, how I need to prepare. I adore that entire aspect of hunting. And then, of course, being out in the field is so exhilarating and also very calming, which I know can seem like a contradiction to some people, but being in nature, being outdoors, is calming for me. Transcending beyond that to moving, I think, fairly rapidly to, wanting to help others and give back. And I just thrive on that too. So I really like the blend of what's going on in my life and the opportunities that brings me. And like I said, though, I learn something new every day, whether I'm listening to a podcast where somebody talks about something I haven't considered before, or I pick up an old book from 50 years ago and just hear a voice from the past articulate something that I'm battling with today that's still relevant. I love it.
Let's talk about you and your hunting journey a little bit more specifically about that. So, first of all, what are you doing for a hunt this year? What did you do? What did you do this? Well,
I want to hear.
think I know.
I want to hear about last year's hunt that she talked about on the podcast.
I couldn't go on last year's hunt, Steve.
What?
I couldn't. I broke my ankle in October, right before hunting season. Yeah, so my 2021 hunting season went down the drain. So I'm going to catch up this year.
Excellent.
Yeah. I am still recovering, unfortunately. This injury was pretty extensive, so I have to limit my hunting, how strenuous I hunt this fall a little bit. So I'm going to concentrate this year on elk, antelope, mule deer, and in the winter, when I should be a little further along than where I am now, I'm going to go for a cougar hunt, which I'm really excited about. Yeah.
That'd be fun.
Where are you doing? Where is your hunts at? Like, can you now? Like, I know you're living down there. Do you have a Montana hunting license, or how does that work with you with your?
Yeah, I sure do. Yeah, I'm a Montana resident now.
Okay.
Formally, I'm a permanent resident of the U.S. and a Montana resident. So I get resident hunting privileges here. The plan, as far as I know, this year is all my hunts will take place in Montana, and I'm not exactly sure all the areas yet. I'm working on that right now with my research, but I'm just excited to get back out. It was just a bummer last year to lose the season.
Yeah, for sure. So how does it work with the cat hunt? Is it with dogs or is it guided? What does that look like, Renée?
Yeah, so we have a really good friend. He's not a guide. He's not an outfitter. He's just a private citizen, but he has his own hounds. He's a really passionate hound hunter. And so he's gonna take me out on my cat hunt. So we'll be hunting with hounds. And I think the best time of year he mentioned to go would be January. So we're planning for that.
That's awesome. So do you have any expectations? Some people are like, oh no, I'm only going to kill a big tom, or somebody just wants to tree them. Do you have any expectations whatsoever on this hunt, or what does that look like for you?
Well, the expectation number one is just like going to be the thrill of this experience, having it being brand new. I don't really even know what to expect. I've never hunted with hounds before, so I'm doing some research there, watching some videos, just so I'm not like totally overwhelmed by it. But no, as far as results are concerned. I definitely have an interest in going for a nice, mature, aged tom, but I'm not adverse to depending on where we go. If we're in sheep range, we're not going to be in high sheep range with my ankle. But if we're anywhere near where they might be predating on sheep, I might consider taking female because of the impact they have on sheep predation, for example. So I'm pretty open. I'm really actually quite open.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, so you describe yourself as somewhat of a new hunter, still learning, and although I consider you fairly experienced, in my opinion, from what I'm seeing, but a lot of people sort of, predator hunting becomes an evolution, right? It's, most people don't get into hunting because they want to go and kill a predator necessarily. Lots of time it's about, the experience. It's about the food. Of course, predators aren't necessarily known for a food source, although we know that argument too, which I'm sure we'll jump into. But so you're talking about cat hunting. So, and I know on the last podcast we did, maybe 2 ago, the first one, you talked about, you enjoy predator hunting and you, it's something that you like to be involved in and stuff. So, where does that come from? Was this an educational thing, or is it something you've always like, oh, I want to get into hunting so I can go and, remove wolves from the ecosystem? What does that look like for you? What's your evolution around predator hunting?
Yeah. So no, when I started my hunting journey, my primary motivator was sourcing my own protein. And I did not have predators in mind at all when I started hunting. And I didn't have really strong feelings about predator hunting, but it just wasn't an interest. And but what ended up happening is that my first hunting mentor in Alberta, guy I grew up with in my hometown, he called me up and in that spring of 20. I'm trying to remember now. Was that 2017 or 2018? I can't even remember. 2017. And he said, "Are you ready to go hunting?" And I said, "Yeah." "Are we planning for whitetail this fall?" And he said, "No. I have a spring bear camp in northern Alberta I've been hunting out of for over 20 years, and I'm going to take you bear hunting." And I mean, that was not expected. I was overwhelmed. I didn't know what that meant. I was freaked out about hunting a species that I had been taught to be very respectful of my entire life and keep my distance from. I didn't really understand about eating the meat on a bear. I didn't know what that would be like and what it would taste like. But I talked to him about it, and he told me bear meat is delicious. And by the way, I agree with him. My spring bear meat was really good. But anyway, so that was not what I was expecting. It's not why I got into hunting, but it was my first hunt, and it was extraordinary, and it was life-changing, and it was a whole series of emotions, like terrifying and absolutely exhilarating, and it moved me to tears. I had a whole range of emotions, and I don't know if it's because a bear hunt was my first hunt, but I love predator hunting. I love hunting ungulates as well. I love hunting other species, but there's something about a predator hunt that really, really appeals to me. And it, one of the things when I talked earlier about how I had these preconceived ideas, notions, sometimes prejudices that I overcame, particularly in that first year, one of them was understanding the role of predator management and that visceral reaction people can have when you talk about bears, wolves, mountain lions, or cougars, or lions in Africa, or, name your predator. And, so that's something that was really key for me, was asking questions, trying to keep an open mind. I kept an open mind to learn about the importance of predator management too.
Yeah, for me, I'm the same way. Predator hunting is one of my favorites. I look forward to spring bear every year. I look forward to winter with lynx and the dogs. And it's that perceived edibility that people seem to balance a hunt on. And that's not the way to manage, right? We need to manage across all species, right? And if we hunted nothing but ungulates, we'd see a huge drop there and a spike, right? You can't manage. You basically can't manage on things based on what you can eat. So we need to do our part.
So Renee, you talk about how you're so passionate about it, and I get that it was your first hunt, but what is it for you? Is it the thrill of hunting a predator, something that can eat you back, or is it the part you're doing for conservation? And I know I'm not naive enough to know that these things aren't multifaceted. That's not just one thing. But for you, when you talk about that passion and that desire for going out and harvesting a predator, what is it? What is it? What's that drive? What's that biggest motivator that really makes you want to get out there and do that?
Yeah, well, I know we touched on it briefly back in July, but that term experiential, right? I think that predator hunting for me touches on that because you're right. There's a cross section of things here, but and Steve, you made an excellent point too that it's not always about what's edible, and I think those things blend together here because for me I think part of the reason why I love predator hunting so much is because in the mix of all the reasons why there's value in hunting predators, like I'm talking about tangible value from a conservation perspective. For me as a hunter, it is thrilling to be pursuing a prey that also considers me prey. And it changes the game for me mentally. And I am super, super focused on a predator hunt, which isn't to say that I'm not paying attention on an ungulate hunt, but I am hyper vigilant on a predator hunt. And I guess I thrive on that. And that's where the more experiential part of hunting for me comes in. I really get it through predator hunting. I mean, I get it on all of it, but I really get it in predator hunting. So I think that's probably key for me, Kyle, is that thrill.
Yeah, that
I'll
makes
just
sense.
be
Okay, so
honest. Yeah.
yeah, no, and that's fantastic, and actually I can relate to that too. I'm with you there for sure. So, is there any particular predator that you love? Like, obviously, this cat hunt is super cool this winter. Is there something that stands out? Bear was your first. Have you been on a wolf hunt? And what do you aspire to hunt?
Yeah, I have not been on a wolf hunt, and that is definitely top of predator list for me. I understand that it is incredibly difficult. Success rates are extremely low. They are wily. They learn. They are intelligent, as far as being able to uh, survive, right?
Mm-hmm.
It sounds like an incredible challenge, and I'm really obviously cat is my next one, but when I think about North America, I think about wolves.
Oh, yeah, you nailed it. They're all of the above. And one of the most frustrating things about them is they work on roughly a 2-week cycle. So you'll think they're there one day and you'll sit in that blind and then they don't come around for 10, 12, 14 days. So,
No kidding.
and when they do, they kind of poke out of the bush and you need to bait them and you need to wait and be good at calling and just be bloody lucky. So they're tough, but worth it.
Wow. So calling in wolves, that must be thrilling, Steve.
It
Holy
can be.
smokes.
It can be when you howl, and they howl back. It kind of sends a shiver up your spine. You're like, okay, and then
Yeah.
they like to be in a pack animal. They kind of will circle you. So what you think is a howl in front of you, 10 minutes later you'll hear behind you, and then it'll be off to your left, and it just like, I'm getting shivers just thinking about it right now.
I'm getting them too.
They're very, very cagey, but well worth the effort when you finally get lucky to do your part.
Awesome.
So, it's interesting. I'd love to dive into predator hunting and wolf management and all these things. And I'm thinking, Steve, I think we need to do a big roundtable on this discussion one day, and love to have you join us on this. Get a big group of people together and talk about predator management, because we talk about one campfire, right? Obviously, there's the one campfire movement. And whenever it comes to killing predators, it's such a hard argument. But we know from a management perspective, based on science, that there's no better thing for managing ungulates and trying to bring populations back, well, with the exception of good habitat, which we know is a 100-year plan,
That's
not
right.
a 1-year plan.
That's right. You can manage predators in minutes, right? Takes 80 to 100 years to grow proper habitat, and until we get that balance right, we got to do our part, right? No hunter wants to see extinction, none, right? We want that balance, and we need to be part of it to help bring it back. So I agree, that'd be a fun conversation.
It'd be great to have. Sorry. I was just going to say, it'd be great to have, some wildlife biologist or management folks at the table during that conversation. They're the pros.
Yeah. Absolutely, for sure, it would be, and so that's interesting, Renee. I was just thinking with your Women Hunt program and the new hunter course that you offer down in Texas, is there any talk about? I know you guys talk about the North American wildlife model, and you do a great job of sort of presenting the hunter perspective, and I also know that under the tenets of the wildlife management model for North America that it is based on science-based wildlife, so it's ingrained in that model, but it's such a hard topic. If you said, give me a buddy of mine told me this once. He goes, give me your 1 minute speech that you would tell sort of a soccer mom that's sitting at home and asks you why you hunt grizzly bears. And I'm like,
Yeah,
I just
I
was
remember
like,
this one.
I'm like, that is not a 1 minute conversation. I can give you 100 reasons, but to give you that elevator speech on predator hunting,
Oh, it's
good luck,
tough.
or grizzly bears.
Tough.
Hey, maybe that's something that a few of us can put our heads together on and develop.
Kyle, yesterday, was it 2 days ago? You and I recorded a podcast, and then I had to get off it, and I sent you a picture. I do verifications for cattlemen here, and a rancher 3 minutes south of town lost a calf, couple months old, so about 80 pounds, 90 pounds, and they said they're not sure what did it. I took one look, and it was a grizzly bear. You could just tell the mechanics of injury. I'll show you pictures after we're off the air, but yeah, it's something that's a tough conversation to have, right? In order for us to live, things have to die, right? It's tough.
It is. And, part of the issue, I think, in trying to synthesize it into an elevator speech is that first you need to try to get across that concept of the behavior of a predator. And it's not the way people always think, right? Unfortunately, many people look at a wolf and think about their domesticated dog, right? And so they don't even understand wolf behavior. I mean, I have seen some trail cam video from the province of Alberta, from Fish and Wildlife there, of a pack of wolves coming in on a herd of elk at high altitude in Kananaskis country, and it's devastating. And we know what wolves can do, and we know that they don't predate to eat always, And so, how do you get that across quickly to somebody who is really struggling with the concept and doesn't want to think about the graphic nature of nature, right? It's tough.
Yeah, it is definitely a tough sell, and it's never easy. So, do you guys have any aspect of that with your new hunter course? Is there any dialogue around that stuff on your perception of the non-hunting public and articulating that stuff, or not necessarily?
I mean, there is, So what we found out last year is we had put aside an hour to introduce the model and have a discussion on it. We played a video that we had Becky Humphreys from the National Wild Turkey Federation record on her delivery of the model and her opinions or perspectives, rather, on women of the era who also played a role alongside greats like Teddy Roosevelt and others. And then Renée Thornton, the CEO of Wild Sheep Foundation, led a conversation on the model. That was an hour, and we went well over 2. We pushed 3 hours, and they were really thirsty to learn. And so part of the conversation was around just that, the non-hunting audience and what some of their perspectives are, and our role in helping them to understand where we can, the role that hunting plays in wildlife management. And so, yes, naturally, predation came into the conversation, but it wasn't like a really deep conversation about it. It was just a part of it. And also at the ranch, like many parts of the world, it's even coming into Canada, I understand, is wild hogs are a real problem, right? I mean, they're highly, highly, highly destructive to habitat. They propagate like crazy, and they're extremely difficult to control. So at the ranch, anybody can kill a wild hog on site because they are a problem that needs to be controlled. So they had a natural opportunity to hunt wild hog there if they ever came across one. So yeah, it came up.
That's an important conversation to have, especially for somebody who's trying to I don't know, mentor, shape a mind type thing. That it's a tough one. But yeah, we have the same problem with hogs. Well, we don't have a problem with hogs here in BC, but they are now what they call Schedule C, open season. Anytime, any place, you're supposed to take them out. But there's reports, but nothing verified, and we want to keep it that way because, well, we see what they do in Texas and in Alberta and Saskatchewan. They're starting to wreak havoc. Right, again, comes back to that natural balance.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a whole new podcast, which we and I would love to jump in. I love talking about predator management and the arguments for, the arguments against, and but it is such an emotive issue and one that we've always struggled to tell that story. Right? But the cool thing is in BC here, they're managing wolves, and we've got a very sort of left-leaning government, and they've stuck their course to wildlife management and continuing to. So, I have to commend the BC government for doing their part, which is, I wouldn't necessarily thought that under an NDP government they'd necessarily be doing that. So it's encouraging to see that, science-based wildlife management is still a thing here in BC in some capacity.
Okay, thanks for the clarification there. In some capacity.
I was going to say, what now?
Anyway, I didn't want to dive down the rabbit hole of politics.
There's another podcast there on top of the predator management one. So,
yeah. Well, Renée, I know we've taken a lot of your time today, and I just want to commend you and your team and the Wild Sheep Foundation and Women Hunt for what you guys do. This is something that, is really important in our space, and just, thank you for your leadership, dedication, and the time that you put into this. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much, guys. Thanks for having me on again. I love talking to you guys. So thank you.
You're the most, I guess, the busiest person on Talk to Sheep, so the busiest guest. So thank you for doing that. And there's always something new. We're never covering the same stuff, and this is an evolving program, and we'll have you back on again because there's lots more to talk about. So thank you, Renée, and we can't wait to hear what comes out of Texas this year. And congratulations on a great program.
Thanks so much.